Welcome to the Miramar Music Club. This is our podcast that releases bi-monthly. And yeah, here's our cast. I'm Kalia Sebastian. I'm a second year, and I'm an art history major.
My name's Thomas. Guess this is my second year. Still working on what I'm exactly doing, but yeah, I am going to be going for radiology.
Very cool. I'm Blaze. I'm an English major. It's my second year.
I'm Nick. This is my second year, and I'm a mechanical engineering major.
I'm Joaquin. This is my second year here, and I am majoring in audio production.
So today we're going to be talking about the sounds of the summer in response to our last podcast from last semester, going over our predictions, if we were right or wrong, and then we're going to dive into how the mediums in which we consume our music and the algorithms that go along with that influence not only our listening, but general popularity of songs. Mm-hmm. So, would anyone like to start us off?
I guess I'll start. Katy Perry did not hit the top of the charts this summer. Unfortunate, but Katy Perry's... oh, wow. Now I'm totally blinking. But anyways, I'm not honorable, that one. But... Sabrina Carpenter was probably the top of the charts. Also Chaperone. Both of them pretty much crushed it all summer. Thank God there wasn't a Taylor Swift song that broke the charts or anything, because I'm tired of listening to Taylor Swift.
It's actually interesting that you brought up Katy Perry, because she had her album release, and like that song Woman's World, that tanked.
Yeah. That
everybody hated, which was just interesting that was your prediction, and that was what you listened to, then everybody else did not like it.
Yeah, it's a snippet in time, like, because I'm referring to her Hot and Cold album, right? Like her, 14 years ago now, right? Or, no, not 14 years ago. Wow, I can't. 12 years?
Might be 14 years ago. I think that the peanut gallery is talking too much.
Anyways, yeah, it was convenient, but Katy Perry did release a song that not a single person really liked, because it was just not kind of original in a way, in my opinion. She kind of lost her flair, but anyways, let's continue on.
I listen to music, but I don't know what's currently popular right now. But I don't know about this, as per se, but someone was telling me how this, Pink Pony Club thing got really popular over the summer. I don't really understand it, but I heard it, the snippet of it, and they're like, oh, this is just big right now. And I'm like, where? I don't go anywhere. So do you guys know anything about that? Like, what is that? I don't understand. Please
I
tell
don't
me.
know what that is.
So that's Chaperone, who I predicted last semester.
You
that
predicted
she was
that?
Get big. Yeah.
You did.
My two predictions were Sabrina Carpenter with her album was going to be really popular, and then Chaperone was going to be really popular.
And were you right on both accounts?
Yes.
Okay.
But Chaperone has been around for a long time, and she only recently got big because of her single Good Luck Babe, and then everybody rediscovered her old stuff. She has only one album, but a bunch of singles. And she's really big in, the performative aspect of it, and I think it was her Coachella performance that really, took off. And it was thanks to, Instagram and TikTok that she really started to gain traction. And it's really cool if you look at, the charts, and, her search history and everything, and it's just, a skyrocket, monumental gain of followers when she had, next to nothing before.
Yeah. Well, good for her, then. Yeah. That's nice. Success.
Yeah, she's just going through growing pains just as anyone.
That makes sense, yeah.
She's gotten so popular that a lot of her extreme fans are showing up to her family's home and trying to talk to people in her family, or trying to harass her on the street, supposedly. But then there's also countering accounts where when she's in public, people just, hey, can I get an autograph? And then that stuff doesn't go down very well. So she's just adjusting to the fame she finds herself in. But she is under a lot of pressure since she's not used to it. So I just know that's some things that's going on with her as an artist. But
you were talking about Katy Perry. You said that you thought that the last album she did wasn't original. What do you mean by that?
I just feel like the further that an artist gets like they'll do their breakout album, and I feel like that's as close to their originality as they're gonna get. Katy Perry hasn't really done a actual album since I think like 2015 with Dark Horse. No, I think that was 14, but everything else has just been singles, right? She hasn't produced a physical album. But her last single was really bad, which was The Woman's World that we were just talking about.
Okay.
And it was off tone, and it didn't really sound like it was, like, not off, like off tone and like with the message that it was being trying to be sent across, and it wasn't just hitting with pretty much anybody that it should be hitting with. Oh. So that's why it wasn't popular.
Just not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
So it was so essentially it's a very shallow feminist song. I mean that's mostly what I get when I see the song on the radio.
I don't like. I listen to it and it's just like women should try to achieve things, be great and whatnot. But I didn't. Like, there was nothing in that song that stood out for me that made me want to re-listen to it. I think that's the problem with it.
It just didn't stick with audiences.
Yeah, it just didn't get anywhere. And then some people were criticizing her on some other political stuff. So they were attacking her character rather than the song. So,
the algorithm didn't pick it up.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Real quick, though. Song of the Summer, Always. Michael Jackson, Thriller. Just found out, probably people that love Michael Jackson will know, but I just found out that Thriller used the same instrumental from Starlight. I didn't know that Starlight was a song, but it's the exact same instrumental, just re-released as Thriller, like, years later, something like that. So, I found that out yesterday. Thought that was pretty cool. Talk about unoriginality. What do you have for the summer?
Unfortunately, I don't really follow up a lot on, like, some music trends a lot of other people follow up on. Like, some of my friend groups, they have, like, their own little artists that they like to listen to. Like, for example, Eric DOA, Glaive. Those are, like, the main two I hear about from them. So I don't really hear about, like, other stuff from them. But as for predictions, I wasn't part of that podcast, so I don't have much to say as well. So
everything you said was right.
Yeah, I wasn't here for that episode either. But one thing, I have only 3 songs in my head that sort of centered around, that mostly came from when I was driving myself around to college back home. SZA Saturn, Coldplay's Feels Like I'm Falling in Love, and Billie Eilish's Birds of a Feather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like those ones are pretty popular right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard Birds of a Feather a lot from, like, TikTok, Instagram. Like,
okay.
It just caught on with the trend.
Yeah.
Do either of you have any personal songs of the summer that you just listen to on repeat over and over again till you just don't want to listen to it anymore?
Well, for me, it's a tie between Saturn and Birds of a Feather.
Okay.
I have no direct answer.
What about you?
I have, like, a playlist of just, like, a bunch of random stuff. Like, I can't figure out, like, a single genre I like to listen to, so my interest is also kind of all over the place. Also, since I'm in a band, I just like to listen to the songs we've played. Like, I have a whole playlist of everything I played in that band, which is stuff I like to listen to as well. We played Copacabana, which is one I really like for the instrument, for our little ensemble. But
very nice.
Yeah, some other really popular ones over the summer that I also enjoyed was the whole Billie Eilish album, Hit Me Hard and Soft. That one really took off, really blew up. It was her first release in a few years, too, and I remember she had, like, been in interviews talking about how she had like, only singles the last few years. Like, she had the Barbie song, and then she had the Bond song that I think both of them won an Oscar.
Yeah.
And then she had this album. Yeah, she won an Oscar for it.
Did you get Oscars for that?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Like score, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's
for
cool.
original song.
That's
yeah.
cool.
And then another one that I don't think we can't talk about is Brat from Charlie XCX. I don't know how, like...
You know, I guess I did hear something about that, too.
Yeah, I don't know how, like, on the internet you guys are.
What
But...
have you
Which
heard
we'll
about
go
it?
into
What have you
algorithm.
heard about it on the internet?
Yeah, I mean, I have listened to Charlie XCX, like, a little bit previously, but when she released Brat, everybody was talking about like the Brat summer, and so
Yeah.
it was like the carefree party girl. It's very like club music, electronic. She like is a DJ, and so she's been going to like underground raves since she was like 14 and DJing, and so this is kind of a culmination of all of that, and she almost rebranded her entire music discography, and I think that she's getting her flowers now because of how popular the album was, and I really enjoyed it. It's been on my playlist like constantly. And she had the song Guess featuring Billie Eilish. That was really, really good. That was definitely one of my top listened songs.
Very cool. What is house music? Because I'm thinking about that genre. You said like clubs and raves. Is that not
Yeah.
applicable there as well?
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
just-
for the most part, yeah.
So-
I don't know much about house music, but I'm pretty sure it's on the ranks of EDM, and yeah, just EDM.
Okay, so it's like similar crossover, but she's not house. She's
She dips into it.
Okay.
She just like EDM is a very wide. It's like a
yeah,
type
broad.
of genre of music almost.
okay.
So anything that's like electronic based, dancey, kind of falls under the EDM umbrella. And then there's like house. There's drum and bass. There's like a bunch of other things. And that's kind of like a whole world on its own. And I feel like unless you go into raves or unless you like are in that culture, it's hard to get exposed to that kind of music.
Yeah.
So I think that's why Charlie's album became so popular, because it's kind of like transition between pop and EDM.
Okay.
It's bridging the gap. So she's capturing both the house music EDM group and appealing to the new popish crowd that she's kind of transitioning into.
Like a gateway drug.
Yeah, and kind well, I think another person that we can mention for like that transition that has a popular song right now is Post Malone's song. I Need Some Help.
I
think?
had some help
I had some help.
with
Thank you.
that one country dude. I forgot. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Is it Zach Bryan?
Morgan Wallen? Yeah, it's Morgan Wallen. I've heard that one often in the car.
Yeah, I just like I don't listen to that song a lot. Like I like Post Malone, and I'm happy that he's actually going for the music that he wants to go with, rather than his music that he only got successful at. So it's nice that he's like kind of transitioning to country music, but you can still see the influences of his sort of rap.
Post Malone's doing country now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like that's the trend right now, isn't it? I've seen. Was it Rihanna? Did Rihanna do a country
Beyonce.
album? Beyonce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anything
Well-
about that. I just saw someone send me a picture.
I know with Post Malone, he always wanted to be a country singer. He
Oh.
just wasn't good at it,
Like-
to begin.
Whoa.
Instrumental ones or
Well,
just
like I don't know why he just didn't take off. Then he transferred into.
Oh, was he originally a country singer?
He was trying to be a country
Okay,
singer
okay.
when he was first starting out, and then he transferred into his rap thing. Then he got really popular with like Congratulations and whatnot, and then his like Circles album and all that. But now he's gone back to what he originally wants, and now all his most popular songs are actually his country songs rather than his previously really famous songs. So he's just made that transition, but it's a popular summer song right now.
Okay.
What's really interesting is that actually my favorite Post Malone song is a cover of a Bob Dylan song that I found on YouTube like 5 years ago. And it just like came up because I do like algorithm.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was the segue. Because I like watch a lot of Bob Dylan like live
Yeah.
concert recordings, and it just kind of came up, and it was Post Malone, and it was his real name. I forgot I don't know his real name, but that was like his channel, and I just stumbled upon it, and then that became my favorite Post Malone song. And it's not even his, but it's just like his performance of it is great. So it's interesting that he's now kind of delving back into country, because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I actually, by the algorithm, was recommended a cover of War's Why Can't We Be Friends a couple months ago. And it was covered by Smash Mouth. And I love Smash Mouth now because I love that cover. It's just got a whole lot of energy to it. It's just completely different from the way that War did it in a way, because it's like it's punky. It's it's very 90s, the feel of it. It's got the more harder instrumental style and the way that they use their guitars and whatnot, and the way that they turn it into like a drowning sound, like he's like kind of like pleading, as opposed to a Wars song, which is just kind of like song. I'm not gonna call it kitschy, but it's more bouncy. This guy is just like, why can't we be friends like that? But Smash Mouth makes it just kind of sad the way that they do it, because he's just like crying. He's like, why can't we be friends? So then I listened to the rest of Fush Yu Ming like a week ago. That's my song this summer right there. That whole album is just cool. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of great sounds there, and I wouldn't have bothered giving it the chance unless the algorithm had given me that song, because I'm going into the more of like, I'm just going to listen to whole albums of like single songs that I like, because chances are they're good. Sometimes they're bad, though. Sometimes it's just so boring.
What do you mainly use to consume your music?
So you're gonna hate me for it, but I have on my phone the YouTube web browser.
Oh yeah, okay. I remember this. Last semester you were talking about it.
That's no way. That's strike two.
Strike one.
But yeah, I get both the strikes there. But I have Spotify on my computer. My buddy, I never wanted to use Spotify, and I originally had YouTube on my phone for the longest time, but I'm addicted to it. I used to love just like checking it for no reason. I now only scroll signed out on my YouTube web browser until I find music. But
an improvement.
It's an improvement, because I'll sit there and I'll like go through like all these videos, and they're not tailored to my tastes anymore because I'm signed out and it's on YouTube web browser. So I'm seeing a whole bunch of bull crap, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not. What am I doing with my time? And then I'll do it like 3 more times within the hour before I decide to do anything that I want to do. But the algorithm does love recommending me music, because I have a playlist from one of my like personal channels that I just have public, so I can constantly find it easily, and it'll just give me all these recommendations from that, and it's like, oh, this is great, it's awesome, I love listening to that. And then it hits me with something just weird, and I love it too. And then it'll hit me with something I don't like, and I stop listening for weeks. Yeah.
What do you guys use?
Yeah.
I use Spotify.
I do not pay for Spotify Premium, so I don't use Spotify. Usually I just use YouTube. That's where I have my playlists.
You use the web browser or the
I have the app.
Okay. The web browser, if you
Like
refresh,
normal
it'll skip the ad. So that's another bonus. Like, I'm listening to the music. I listen to like 30 seconds of this lady talking about her dog. Nope. Refresh. And if I'm there, then if I'm like in a nice hotspot area, then I'm home free.
I keep getting the same ads, but I gotten used to them. Like, I used to get mad when I'm like, okay, here's the Zillow ad again.
I can't handle it, dude.
I hate him so much.
So I use Spotify. I used to use Apple Music. I moved away from that. I just felt okay. Like, originally I was using Pandora way back in the day.
So was I.
But just the constant ad breaks, like everybody was saying, was annoying. So then I went to Apple Music when I actually had money to pay for songs. But then Apple Music was not innovating, and it just felt kind of stagnant, stuck as an app. So then I switched to Spotify, and I like Spotify a lot. The algorithm, I don't know what it does, but it lets me explore a lot more than, like, let's say Apple Music in the past for me, where I would be like just randomly shuffling. I'm getting like I may be listening to some country songs, and then once it runs out of the things that I like put into the playlist, it will jump to like the top pop songs of like the current time or whenever I would be on that playlist. So
You're brave.
Yeah.
I would not do that.
That's what it was doing. It just really annoyed me, because it would not like it wouldn't pay attention to what music that I like to listen to. It just jumped to like, okay, most people are listening to this. Let's put you over here. And then I didn't like that. So when I switched to Spotify, I do get a bit of that sometimes. Like, I'll get like Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso, and like, I'm not into that music, so I'm just like, oh, whenever I hear her voice, nope, just carry on. But it's a lot that happens very rarely, all things considered. So I like using Spotify because it actually keeps me tuned in to the music I want to be listening to. But I guess that's also a negative because the algorithm is so good at recommending the things that I want that I don't expand my boundaries, right?
I think that's interesting because I feel the exact opposite.
Mm.
I used to use Apple Music, and then I swapped over because I didn't have my subscription anymore, so I joined someone else's family plan. And I'm so sick of the algorithm on Spotify because the shuffle doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't shuffle your playlists. It plays the same 5 songs.
That's
and
what
then
YouTube does now.
Yeah, and then when I get my, like, when the playlist ends and I start getting recommended, it plays the same songs that I just had on the playlist.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll play songs, like, I don't have I haven't done research on this, but I have anecdotal evidence that it's putting specifically sponsored albums and songs into the recommended. Because I've been getting Clairo's new album on my recommended every single time at playlist ends, and I like Clairo. I don't like her new album, and so I've specifically avoided adding it to like my library, and I keep getting it over and over and over again.
That's a conspiracy right there.
And I get
The
like
industry plant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a rumor. It's a rumor that she's an industry plant.
It's
It's a rumor.
I didn't know anything
Do I
about
believe it? A little bit.
anything about that whole noun, I suppose. I didn't know people were called industry plants until my buddy said that about something a couple months ago, and it's so funny to me.
It's really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, but so you're just feeling that Spotify specifically doesn't recommend you new things. It's always the same thing that it thinks you want to listen to, and it never figures out that, hey, I don't want to listen to this album. Can I get something new? It's like, no, you shall listen to this.
Exactly. And I felt differently about Apple Music because I felt like I was always finding new songs that I really liked through the recommended, like Smart Shuffle on Apple Music.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm probably going to go back to it, because I feel like I'm getting peddled when I'm on Spotify, and I don't like that feeling.
You know what's upsetting? Because I use YouTube Music. Not YouTube Music. I use YouTube web browser. I got tired of that. But I swapped over to VLC Media Player for a little bit whenever I had some road trips that I had to go on, because YouTube web browser and phone in general just kills you whenever you're out in the middle of nowhere. So I was like, okay, I'm going to download some music and I'm going to put it on my phone, and we're going to be perfect with that. And it went pretty well for the first couple songs that I had from my computer that I put on there, but it is so hard to transfer files between the phone and your computer. Maybe not on MacBook, I use Microsoft, and then I have an iPhone, but it is ridiculous. It should not be that difficult. They're doing it intentionally. Despicable work. You'd think that the same people that made the iPod would at least have a little respect for the people that just want to listen to music on their phone downloaded, but no. I can't do the Guardians of the Galaxy thing where he just has all his music from 30 different generations just queued up. I can't do it because it's so unbelievably hard.
Just have to return the tapes, man.
Yeah.
What, he didn't have...
He got the Zoomy thing, I think, at the end of the second or third movie. Yeah, it's some knockoff iPod thing. He got it, and it had 60 years worth of music, and I was I want that right now. I'm tired of this. I can't deal with it, man. It is such a difficult process.
Which is interesting because now it's so different than how it used to be with physical media.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
you'd buy the CD or you'd buy the album or the cassette, and then you'd also have to record it if you wanted to make your own playlist. You'd have to wait for it to come on the radio.
That is, yeah.
And, and just pray nobody else comes in.
That's the...
Make no noise.
Exactly.
I think that right there kind of points out a problem with being sucked into a certain media type, whether it be Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. Making that jump is just do I want to make this jump? If I make this jump, I lose all of the things that I've collected and curated for myself, and you won't really be able to look at that stuff again. And it's only a matter of time, since everything's so digital, so much digitation and no physical copies, that it's not if you have kids in the future, they're going to be oh, what is this album, right? Like dust off like the album cover or the CD or the tape or whatever. That's not going to happen. It's only like 10 years down the road until it's like you'll hear something on the news like Spotify deletes blah 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 like records, so like everybody loses all the music that they've ever listened to, because I know like Disney's been getting in trouble with that, where they're like deleting scenes in movies or deleting whole movies from that album, or being forced to remove stuff for their services. So it's just like everything became so democratized when it first went onto the internet, and now everything's become, you have to live in your clusters, and if you go out of the clusters, you don't even have the physical media anymore. You have literally nothing. So just like, want to go back to the tapes? Do you want to go back to the CDs? Well, you can't really do that. So it's just unfortunate that we're stuck in this weird digitalized world where we can't do anything about it.
I mean, that's just such an investment. But one of the big reasons why I've stayed on YouTube for so long is because 3 years ago I got really into like jazz fusion, probably from some algorithm recommendation. It was like Cassiopeia. I love that band because it gave me some recommendation, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And so it keeps giving me all their like discography and that kind of stuff. For the longest time, Japanese music was not available on Spotify and all the other streaming services. Yeah. And I was just like, why would I even bother? Because some of them don't have copyright in America anyway, so I don't get ads on all the rips that I get from YouTube. And there's this like really valuable community of people that just have all of this Eastern music. Like, it's not even just Japanese, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, oh, I found my grandpa's record collection, and I have this this digitization process that allows me to just take the record, record it, and then put it on the internet. Yeah, have a listen. And those people are great. I love those people. I'm pretty sure most of them are Russian because they all have like these Russian names. But fantastic. There's just they put all their stuff out there, and it's like, oh, dude, this is awesome. And they seem really kind because they keep doing it, and they're like, I'm doing it for you guys. Here's some awesome stuff I found today. And it's just like, oh man, that's great. Mm-hmm. I don't listen to that much anymore because they got deleted after this was Zerf X-Spec, I think, on YouTube. Deleted like several times because finally the copyright came back, and they were like, okay, I'm putting it all on these other streaming services like Vimeo or something like that, but I'm gonna keep trying to come back to YouTube. So it's kind of difficult now because you find something that you really like, you throw it in your like playlist or whatever, and then a year later it just says deleted video. Yes. Doesn't even tell you what it is. No clue what I could have listened to.
I'm so mad about that. One of the playlists I have, I checked, I scrolled all the way to the bottom, since usually I just like hit shuffle and then like I get whatever I want, but I scrolled to the bottom, it said five unlicensed videos, and I'm just like, what am I missing out on? What's gone?
I miss the Wild West of the early internet.
Well, that's what made me want to like download all my music, was like, dude, I need to preserve this for myself. And now it's just even more difficult to download YouTube videos because they make you pay for it, or like all these unreliable.
Bring back Napster.
Yeah, maybe.
LimeWire.
Exactly.
They actually do have some stuff like that now, which you have to ask some certain people, like, how did you do it? And they're like, oh, dude, just not these websites, but these programs, basically better than anything you've ever had before. And so, it's fantastic.
Next podcast episode, how to pirate music.
Yes. I didn't say anything.
That was a joke. For legal purposes, that was a joke.
But, so just kind of going back onto the topic of just
pirating.
Algorithm.
Not quite.
Oh, wait, maybe.
Algorithms. It's just, I think, kind of the segue that we just did there kind of just shows our own frustration in what our algorithms are telling us to listen to, and then if the algorithms are now curated when we don't even know and we don't have any power over it, it feels kind of disheartening, and you're just like I'm putting all this time and energy into this, and like if if like on Spotify, right at the end of the year, you're gonna get your year of 2024. You spent this much time listening to music. Well, if you're listening to your music, and then it's just like, you know, you listen to your music and it gets deleted, or your certain song and you don't realize it, you're quite literally missing out on your, you know, the sound of music.
It feels almost dystopian.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I that word. I love hate relationship with that word, but sorry, you can go.
That was my.
Oh, then yes. Well, that's my main gripe with a lot of things, like just using YouTube web browser. Like, it doesn't work for the customer anymore. Like, I will gladly pay for stuff that caters to me and does what I want it to do and like listens to feedback. But so much stuff is just difficult and dumb for the wrong reasons and like just so
Go off, King.
disheartening. It's like, man, I don't want to bother with this garbage anymore, and so I choose not to. And
Smart.
I encourage others to do the same.
YouTube
That's
web
so
browser.
popular.
Yeah.
Someone should make a game. Drink every time you say YouTube web browser.
YouTube web browser
Every
is.
time you say YouTube web browser is a demerit.
Well, let's think of it like this: if like Spotify is like Homo sapiens, then YouTube web browser is like the chimpanzee. They both come from the same place.
We're just back to basics.
That is such a strange comparison.
Because they
He's running out of
both
tallies.
come from the same place. They're building down.
So like,
So moral of the story: get YouTube web browser.
Don't use it.
I don't recommend a YouTube web browser. But you should use it if you're tired of everything else.
And if you want to see one unlisted video on your
You want to talk about YouTube web browser?
I think we can get a sponsor.
wait. I have to ask: are you an industry plan?
It's an industry plan for the
I
YouTube
hope
web
not.
browser. Yeah.
Whew.
Stop being bad.
Is that a message to the audience, to us,
To
or
the
to
companies,
corporation?
just
Okay.
make me want to pay for
Yeah,
the garbage.
God bless you.
that'll work with him.
Okay. So
It's
are we
annoying.
all wrapped up on this?
Thing gets posted on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're listening then.
They're listening
They
on
have to.
YouTube. web browser.
Everything is being recorded by the company.
So stop playing. Stop playing it on your regular YouTube app. Go to YouTube web browser and you're good to go.
And make sure you hit refresh.
I like how I'm making
Sorry,
fun of you,
man.
but I also use YouTube web browser.
I remember you saying something
deleting
about it.
the
You're
app
like,
right
check
now.
this out.
I don't have the app.
I'm deleting it right now.
Okay.
Man, the app is a problem though.
Okay.
Like, it's just addicting.
It's
Oh,
true.
Lord.
All
I
right.
think that's a topic for another time.
Yeah.
I think that's a good topic for another time.
Yeah.
Is the addictive
Addicting.
nature
Oh
of
man.
The YouTube
music and the YouTube web
And
browser.
that was cool with TikTok too.
Just music,
Yes.
please.
Okay.
We'll table that for another
Thank you.
podcast episode.
I think we're good.
Thank you for watching the Miramar Music Club podcast. We meet every Thursday in room H216 on the Miramar campus. We record the podcast every other week, so if you want to come for our business meeting, get a little introduction, we can make it happen. So thank you very much.
Make sure to hit refresh.
There we go.
We just said
Get
you
that on a shirt. Make sure you hit refresh. Hit refresh.
Sponsored by you.
ruined the outro. You had your hands on it.